So, hello everyone, it's Damon here. After our year of break, we are back live with our podcast and discussion with great people. And today, I would love to introduce you, Edgar. It's a funny story because me and Edgar we followed each other on LinkedIn for I don't know, it's been already like 2 years. And once upon a time, which was a month ago, we decided that let's have a call. And out of the call, we went to the conclusion that why shouldn't we take a podcast? Because Edgar is a great product manager and also he runs his own startup. And I thought, okay, that might be interesting, especially right now when we see that startups struggle. And without the good product management, it's very hard to find the market fit and also scale your application, scale your product to the audience. So today, I guess we will talk about the product management, startup path, and also how it is to be an Estonian guy living in Switzerland, because that's who you are. And I would love to start our conversation with the question: what's your story? What brought you to Switzerland, and what was the biggest challenge to live there for the last years? And where are you today?
Sure, thanks, Damien. Yes, it's interesting because for me, it was always actually the place to be. It was not driven by some dream, like I'm dreaming about Paris. I want to go to Paris and I want to live there or whatever.
Sure,
It was always driven more about work and work and work. So I'm coming from entrepreneurs family. So my main point was I want to create a company. So when I moved out of Estonia with 18, I moved to Constance actually to just to then I
sure.
worked for some training in China. So I was traveling a lot to to Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and then when my daughter was born, that was the moment where, okay, now you need to pick one location
Settle.
because yeah, you will stay there for longer. Even though like till 6 years, it's still flexible. You can move around. Kindergarten is not really that
Sure.
connecting, but then when kids go to school, then you're like, okay, that's it. Then
Your first serious attachment, like
exactly. Then
friendships and so on, I have
your
the
kids
same.
have
Yeah.
their connections and their friends, so it's not like you can now like, oh, I have a new opportunity for a startup in Singapore. Let's run around. And Switzerland is the place where every time I travel, I come back here and it has this super calm feeling in my heart, where it's like, wow, everything works here. Everything is so
Ah,
normal.
okay. I call it peace
Uh,
of mind. So probably that's what you read. And I have this
yeah,
same, maybe not the same, but similar feeling about Copenhagen because they have a very good social support for families and school and how they raise kids and so on. It's perfect. And exactly what you're saying. You go there and you feel like this place is so safe and this place is so family driven, even if you have very high taxes, but still it gives you this
yeah,
environment where you know that your family is covered by the government and by the society. That's why you can focus on running a business and so on.
yeah. I think there are pluses and negatives, right? If it's too safe, then you become kind of bored
Lazy.
and lazy. Yeah,
Lazy
in a
comfort
way.
zone.
Yeah, exactly. You land in this comfort zone because then I know some people say like, okay, I don't have this thrive and thrill of I will don't know what to eat tomorrow and I need to survive. I know a lot of people who don't know what to eat tomorrow. It
Yeah,
didn't help them to become a millionaire, startup founder, exeter, whatever.
true.
So yeah, but this peace of mind, exactly. This is what is here. You travel to the mountains any weekend for 365. You can go hike in summer. You can go ski in winter. You can, I don't know, go to any lake here. And Switzerland has a
Then you
bunch
need
of
that. I guess you need
yeah.
the balance. And one thing that you just said, which makes me laugh because I watched a video yesterday. It was an interview between Stephen Barrell. He runs the podcast of Diary of a CEO. He's from Britain, and he ran a podcast with Mel Robbins, and she's like a mentor coach and so on. But she said quite interesting thing that what's killing modern society is one sentence or like even two words. I'm fine or it's fine. So basically you got to some certain point and you feel that I can go to gym, I can run business, but I don't have to. Like it's nice to have, but I'm in the place where everything seems to be good enough, so I don't have to push and I don't have to move forward. But I guess you are still having this hunger when it's itching and scratching you to move forward. So maybe from that point, let's move a bit to your current company, Sneak, or also your startup, Pandaline. How do you combine working on maybe both. And why did you decide to build that product? Maybe you can just elaborate a bit of what is Pandaline and where the idea comes from.
Sure. So my main job is I work for Snick. This is a tremendous company. I think we're getting to the point where we are already the leader. But then, like if you just stop innovating and you stop doing great things, it will literally be like stagnating down. So it's great people here. And I'm currently leading AI and machine learning division, which is here in Zurich. We have 20 people roundabout, and we do a lot of innovations. Everything. LLMs were currently became a hype. We did them for last 3 years, and it was not a hype, but we were still doing them because we see very specific use cases where our company is in security, so we provide tools for developers to actually find vulnerabilities, super
Hmm.
fast in your IDE or in SE or whatever. But then it's not what developers want, right? As a developer, you want actually just like I wrote some code, just whatever. You want to fix it, fix
Yeah.
it. You want to make it compliant, just compliant it. And AI is
Just
the
don't
best at
come
that.
back to me. The biggest
Yes,
enemy of
I built
developer
what I
is QA
wanted.
returning. Sorry.
Exactly. I built what I wanted. I built this feature and it works. Just whatever it's needed, which is mandatory of for security, compliance, whatever any reason, just take an AI and make it work. That's pretty much it. It's not the best part of engineers' work. And I'm at Snyk already for quite a while. And before that I was also in bigger companies and smaller ones. And one of the things that was triggering me lately, like in the beginning of this year, was the way how companies actually do customer discovery
Hmm.
and how disconnected it is inside of the company between different groups, and how disconnected it is sometimes when you actually kind of develop a feature and then kind of the process starts from the beginning. Suddenly marketing and sales, they see this feature and they start creating a story about it. But then why do I create a story? We know customers asked us for this. We know why they want this. We have a thesis of like, okay, we talk to this
Yep.
amount of people. We know all of that. Just take this and run with that.
Just execute.
But
Yeah, simple like that.
exactly.
You have
But because the
instruction.
content, yeah, because the content is distributed across the whole company, there's no structured way of actually organizing, your personas, your user needs, your interviews. Actually, we have one place where we describe all the features in a way, but then it becomes super fast somehow, like out of date, or you create a second feature on top of that, and then it becomes a mix. So there's no one single place where everybody can go and take it. And obviously another part is that big product management tools, they don't make it easier for companies because they charge per user, which
Hmm.
means that anybody in the company, or like will talk to procurement, and you will be like, okay, I have this budget, so I will give it only to this amount of people.
You get two seats, and
And
then half of the company is using it and constantly switching, and then you cannot run proper
exactly.
product development because how can you do it when at the end of the day there are only two people discussing these things at once? So,
Yeah. And then I came to this idea, and I, through my whole career, whenever I worked on something, I had always this kind of, I don't like call it pet project, but this is like
mhm,
almost like pet startup, if you want to call it,
sure.
where I was just like running it on the weekends, in the evenings. I do some calls with friends. I also mentor some startups, and then from all of these interactions, I came to that sort of conclusion that there's literally no simple tool actually.
Yep.
But if when you're talking at the dinner with friends who are also developers, and then you found this super interesting insight, then you actually want to add it to your persona immediately. And then what you want is that all the other peers who are working on features, who work on some kind of innovation or discovery about this persona, they immediately get notified like, hey, look, we have a new insight about our developer persona. They do this.
True.
And then suddenly you have complete different like sparks, and you have complete new like flows in people's minds of like, oh, I was thinking about this. I was literally yesterday discussing this with XYZ. I just forgot to add it to persona. And this keeps like this momentum going, that it becomes like a central place for understanding your customer. And like I think CB Insights had this statistics that 35 or 40% of startups, they fail because there's no product market fit, because
Yep.
market doesn't need your product. But unfortunately that can be solved. It's not unsolved. It's not like yeah, you couldn't get money because there was a bear market or nobody invested in specific domain or something else happened. It's more about like they didn't literally do a great discovery phase,
Yeah.
and
So
if you truly understand the
as
company, then
far as you know that there is pain, obviously there has to be solutions. So basically,
correct.
your challenge and problem is that you didn't find the right solutions. They are not paying not because the market is weak, because maybe your price is too high. Maybe the feature, the way you present it, is just like uncomfortable for them, and so on and so on. But still, users they have certain pain. That's why you started the
Yeah,
adventure. And if they don't pay you for a solution, it means that your solution isn't suitable enough in different forms. Like again, maybe pricing, maybe the design, maybe the experience, and so on and so on. I have the same. Sometimes I see that startups are building those huge products, and I'm like, but why do you build like custom software for this client? You can deliver better solution with no code within a weekend and already satisfy this client. Will be super happy and will pay less. And there is solution there which is more convenient than the one you are presenting as your own startup, unfortunately. But they will pay. You just have to recreate like the business model and find the solution that really fits their expectations and also somehow measures your hypothesis you have in the startup. So, and especially right
correct.
now,
Because
and maybe we can move
yeah,
one step forward to because we had this discussion before and today to the AI. So, how do you think? Because we have this huge wave of AI, and there are tons of tools and assistants and so on. Still, the accuracy is the key, and we have to wait a few like months, maybe years, to make sure that we have those Jarvises, assistants who help us way more. How do you think AI will support product discovery and also product development the way it is more accurate and also causes less like mistakes than it does right now?
yeah, that's a good question. So AI will not win you time, right? Like a lot of reasons why usually founders or just product leads in bigger companies they say, we just go and build it because like we don't have time for proper discovery. But then there are two different ways of discovery, right? The one is the project base, and then you spin up this whole research, and you have UX researcher, you have a product manager, you have a bunch of people who then do these interviews, and it takes, I don't know, 3 months to validate that theory. When I say about discovery, it's more about like, yes, I have this specific idea. I need this type of people, and I have this script of interviews, and then I just want to run it through 50 people and get validation that it at all, sparks any of the interest. And AI is really great in helping humans to do the work that is manual. AI is great in taking unstructured form of data and then generating insights out of this unstructured, you know, dump of database. And I believe there are multiple applications of that, but I believe currently we're more like still in the phase of competition of the models. And I believe at some point of time, probably in a year from now, models will become almost like equivalent, because like
Correct.
accuracy will be almost like plus minus average on all of them. But there will be this kind of very tailored models, right? You have, for example, um, multiple open source models that you can just use, and you can then add some embeddings, and you can
Sure.
there are various possible ways how you can train the model for your specific use case. So I believe still that the future will be for the specialized models, like for image generation. There will be a bunch of models for image generation, but
Yep.
like one can do better social media images, another one can
Yep.
do better, I don't know, for example, housing images of an interior,
True.
because their training data is more based on that. So there
True.
is kind of the plateau of super general models.
So
And
niches mainly, yeah, because each
yeah,
niche, I guess each little tiny narrow direction has its own conditions maybe and different inputs. Because if you
I
go
think
too
it's all about
general,
data then. Yes.
yeah,
Because the data is data. What we see, like the quality of a model is directly influenced by the data it was trained on.
yep,
And there is a huge number of data in companies in specific domains which are not public. And if you just have specific use cases, for example, in case of Pandaline, one of the AI use case is we discussed it before, people are bad. Maybe
true,
can AI do an interview for you? and you actually send the link, and there's some avatar which is generated by AI, and it will run interview for you. Um, all of these things are kind of on the fingertips, right? You could do them, but then, in my opinion, there's always a borderline between what you can automate with AI, and it will literally save you a lot of time, and the quality of the output would be the same as if you would do that. But there is a lot of other things where, yes, you can do it with AI, but your output will be much lower than a human would do that, because AI doesn't have this full brain, right? It's not still like
True.
Neuralink from Elon Musk.
True. Edgar, last question. I read a post on your LinkedIn. It was like a week ago, which was quite interesting. That when you try to solve anyone's problem or when you try to build a successful product, you interview 100 companies about the different challenges, of course, with the right set of questions, and then you find the pattern, which like problems are repetitive in each single case. So if you have 90% of companies having the same problem, this is your golden mile. So basically you can go there, solve their problem, and you can be quite successful. So again, for me it was a quite good lesson that it's like from lean startup. You have to go outside to build a product. You have to start talking to people. You have to make this discovery work, because without it, it's pointless. What are the three biggest lessons about the product management and product discovery you would love to share with the audience? Let's say there are some young product managers listening to us, and what type of advice or lessons would you share with them? Like two, three top lessons from your experience.
I think number one, you can build almost anything, but you need to know what to build. And and this is like super important. Like, don't believe that there's something that you can't build as a product. Any feature that I built in my life, how amazing and innovative they were, it's possible. There's great people, engineers. You just need to, you'll pay more for super specific, experts. Number two is you need to talk to people from like when you don't have anything. Any idea that you have can only be validated through talking to people and asking. If you find some specific problem, as you say, like you talk to 100 people, 70 said they have this problem, then the next is saying, okay, how important is the problem? Are you ready to pay for it? How much pain it is? If I would take this pain away from you, how happy would you become? Is it just like a needle in a stock and you actually don't care much? It's just a pain, but
Yep.
nobody cares if it is there or not. And I believe the third thing would be people lie. And this is a huge problem. Uh, this is a huge problem. If you want really to understand, are there people with a problem? Don't talk to friends and family.
Sure.
Try always to talk to people who you don't know. They will be super ruthless to you. I literally today I found some person on LinkedIn and I wrote her like to talk to her, and she was super ruthless, saying back like, "Your message is spammy. Of course we do customer discovery. What do you mean?" La 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 la. And
Okay.
I was like, "That's amazing. Tell me more." I don't want to provide you anything. I just want to understand how you
Yeah.
do that. Which tools are you using for that? Are you up to date with that? When was the last time you update your persona? And this is the funniest moment. When I talk to people, I ask them like about customer discovery. They say like, yeah, we do interviews. Yes, we do personas, etc. And then I ask them literally, can we just now spend
Details.
5 minutes, open your persona, check last edit date in Notion? And it's usually like 6, 9 months old. It's like, okay, when was your last interview? And they're like, 3 months ago. I said, like, how many features did you ship in the last 3 months? They're like, oh, we did this and that and this and etc. I was like, that, but like, how? Like, how do you know they're good? And this is what I'm trying to kind of, this is our probably the three most important parts that I learned.
Perfect. It's remind me the Doctor House and this famous sentence: "Everybody lies." Every time some patients went to the doctor, they were lying, because sometimes he was just asking them about certain health conditions and they didn't want to say anything. They were, I don't know, ashamed, or they didn't know, but they usually lied because they just wanted to feel comfortable that they are doing the great work. So
Yeah. But I think if you're even like a junior product manager, or you're like a just tech founder who doesn't have this kind of product acumen or this kind of salesy way of talking to people, I think all of them know they can build a lot of stuff. They can hack around. They can do, as you said, like no code, bubble, whatever tools to use to build some solutions. But then if you don't talk to people, and you don't talk to people who are biased towards you because they want to be nice to you, so you talk to literally random people who you think they will be your users, and then you start hearing the same pattern everywhere, then you should literally go and follow that path. Go with no code, build a small solution, try it out, see how it sticks, and then repeat. And you said pretty great moment. Customer discovery is not a guarantee that your startup will be a next unicorn.
Yep,
Customer discovery is the easiest way to validate that whatever you will stick your energy in actually makes sense. And for example, with
correct.
with Pandaline, this is the great moment where I can use Pandaline for building Pandaline. So it's a bit like Inception,
Yeah,
which is
that
super
you can
interesting.
test it on yourself, and if you have
Yes.
the great results, then you're the first client paying to yourself, happy with the
Yep.
outcome.
I know features in Pandaline where I was like, I will not pay for that. And this was the realization. And when I started doing that exercise, I just like open up on the weekends, when my daughter goes outside with her friends, I just open it and then I look at like my interviews, or like at even my own interview with myself. I mean, it looks sounds a bit
Sure.
very not medically correct, but then I actually understand, like, okay, no, this flow, for example, is just doesn't make sense. Data wise, engineering wise, it's done so well, but like as a product manager, this is like, no, we don't work like this. And then you start rethinking, and I believe this is interesting, kind of I know, self routine or something like that.
Perfect. So to summarize, find the audience, talk to those guys, find the product market fit, ship it fast as you can with available tools, and then get feedback loop and build it further, right? That's the recipe for
Yes,
success.
if you keep track of people you talk to, you always keep back coming to the same people, and then you will also create your community. You will have your fan base. You will have people who will ready to pay you even more if you add more features, and this is how you grow. So you just need to find your 100 fans, let's put it that way. And if you have
Makes
100
sense.
people who are using your product, there's a great path for success.
Yeah, then it's easy to take hundred to thousands and even a few thousands because you just scale something that works and then you make a leverage on marketing size, different channels, and the messaging. Um, Sounds easy.
Yeah, just do it.
Okay, thank you for today. Thanks for the conversation.
Thanks,
I
Damian.
guess it was very valuable, and I hope we will inspire young and even experienced product manager to again talk to clients, discover right questions, and discover right answers for their product, and ship something that really works and really can make them unicorns. Maybe let's hope unicorns will return after this small market slowdown, which we see right
Yes,
now.
yes, we need them.
Awesome. Thank you for today.
Thank you, Damian.
Okay, stop. Wait, stop.